G'day, Jarrad Mahon here from Investors Edge Real Estate, and great to be back with you for the first time in 2016 with my Perth Property Market Update. I hope you had a fabulous Christmas, an enjoyable break, and caught up with all your family. I certainly had way too many calories over the break, but never mind. What happens at Christmas stays in Christmas, right? So I'm going to take you through the sale market, the rental market. I've got a lot of extra new stats to insert into things, and this will take you up to speed to the end of last year, and then I'll continue to keep you updated every second month moving forward. So the Perth sale market, the number of properties for sale really decreased coming into the end of December. We went from the high on November of 16,300, and that was the high that we had in recent years, to decrease to 15,600. So what that, it's typical for properties to not be listed for sale in December. All the owners that didn't come on in October, November are generally now waiting to come on in the next couple of weeks in January. So what actually happened with the number of sales each week is that the sales continued pretty strong right through December at the previous levels that we were seeing in October, November. So we're averaging 600 sales for each of the weeks. And what that did is it brought the number of properties listed for sale down. And it was good to see things tighten up a bit there. The telling tale will be what happens in January. We'll see a whole bunch of extra properties come to the market, and we'll see how many buyers come back with them. Now in December, we actually had a lot more genuine buyers out than I thought, and there was good interest all the way through. We managed to get 5-6 properties away sold over the break, so that was great. And when we take a look at what else has been happening, things did tighten up, because we went from an average selling time of just over 70 days at 71 days across Perth, and in December, for the September quarter, we dropped down to 65, 66 days. So it's nice to see things tighten up a bit, and that's the first sign of any tightening up that we've had in recent times. The other really interesting thing about average selling time is that the hot part of the market at the moment is the 500 to 600,000 price range. Now it's a great time if you own a property in that end of the market, because selling days is on average at 47 days, so significantly less than the 65 odd it's taking for the median price of Perth, and for the average time in Perth. And at the 500 to 600, you can upgrade into a higher price point that's lagging and sitting softer at the moment, and really do well in that change up. Unfortunately, for the first home buyer end of the market, that's pretty soft since the first home owners grant decreased last year, and for the higher end of the market, that's pretty soft as well still. So when we look at the median house price, this is a new graph that I've thrown in for you. You can actually see that things held pretty stable at 550, and in the last quarter that we're reporting on, the September quarter, things dropped to 530, and really the median house price I've always seen as a trailing indicator to the other ones. So I expect this will come down a bit more, but we should hopefully start seeing things tighten up in the other stats, and that will indicate that we're stabilising and recovering. So I'll keep an eye on this one, but do expect it to drop a little bit more before it starts coming up. Next, we've got the unit median price, and I found this really interesting because when we compare the two graphs, you can see the unit median prices had regular decreases over this last year, whereas the house price had held very stable. So really that's because we've had a whole bunch extra higher density infill going on. We've had all the apartments, zoning changes flushing through, and I expect that the units are going to decrease in the stats for quite some time longer, because a project for units takes 12 to 24 months, usually sometimes even longer. So really any project that started a year ago probably still hasn't finished, and we're going to be seeing more supply come on before it's taken off. So expect this to continue for longer, to continue decreasing longer than the actual houses do. And you can see we're now at 427, which does represent great affordability compared to some of our other capitals around Australia. Sydney and Melbourne were looking very affordable at that price. The property clock, nothing's changed since I came to you in November. We're still in a declining market, and as I've mentioned previously, the only way to really know that we're on the start of the recovery is when we see prices coming back. And when you're an investor, if you're ever building a property, you have to think ahead. It can take up to a year to build, so you really don't want to wait until you see the market coming you buy. Looking back, I've done that a few times, and I really kick myself that I haven't done more. So really don't presume you've got too much time. It can move very quick through to starting to recover, and if you are able to look at a purchase, now would be a great time to do it. The Perth rental market, you can see there from a quick map, we do manage 128 suburbs, so we have a great perspective on everything that's happening across the rental market. And what we see with our leasing managers is after the first week of December, properties really stopped leasing. So unfortunately, if we didn't find you a tenant by the first week of December, we did get a few away in the second week leading up to Christmas, but the majority of tenant inquiry just really dropped off. And you can see that properties kept coming on the market, and we ended on a super high that we've had for all record that I've been keeping last 2 years of 9,600 properties for rent. So a little bit worrying, that peak up that we've had. It does happen at each time of the year like that. Not to worry if your property is vacant, because when us property managers in Perth, the good ones anyway, we generally write our leases to expire in November and January. So we'll have a whole flurry of tenants coming back to the market and looking for a rental property, and we should be able to get a lot of properties away over the next 1 to 2 weeks. We're already finding that inquiry rates lifted up a lot, and the leasing manager is going to be very busy in January getting properties rented. So the rental vacancy rate, now this is a positive sign. Things have actually stabilised over the last 3 months at 5.6%. And why that's important to me is that in the 6 to 9 months previously, we really did see a gradual increase month on month. And so this is the first real sign that we've started to stabilise again, and that's also being reflected in the median rent stabilising at 410. So hopefully for investors, we're at the bottom of the market, and we're not going to see any other drops. So month on month lately, we haven't seen drops in rental prices in most areas, but obviously if you're coming up to renew your lease, or if you're placing a tenant at the end of a longer period of having one, you are going to have to drop to meet the market, and that's around a 10% drop. But once you're there, hopefully it's going to stabilise and we won't see any further drops. And we've come down from the 450 mark about a year ago to 410, so about 10%. That's what you can expect. And finally, I just want to make some points on how you can go about setting a plan for this year. I love this time of the year. You can really set yourself up and have a great plan for the whole year. It just gives me a good feeling to know that I'm on top of things. So I'd encourage you to take a look at what your current rental price is and your property price. Now, we can help you with those if we manage your property, or even if we don't, do let me know. We can take an independent look at where the rental sits and where the property price sits. Have a chat to your finance broker about your loan structures and interest rates. You'd be surprised how much you can save just by getting a 0.5% discount. We do have a good finance broker to take a look at that at no cost for you if you wish. Once you've established your property price, you can then look at how much available equity you've got, and that's a discussion to have with your finance broker. And even if you don't have a direct plan to make use of it, my general philosophy is, get money from the bank when you don't need it, set up those line of credits when you don't need them, and then when you do, you've got it and you can act quickly. Now's another great time to look at how your budget went and set budget by categories for this year. Just keep your spending under control, keep your savings going towards your holidays and your next investment property in separate loan accounts is a great idea. And finally, with your maintenance and improvements, take a look back at your recent routine inspections and around your home. See if there's any projects that you're going to need a budget in for this year to keep your property price value protected. And we may be able to find out from your tenants if there's any particular things they would want in the property, and if they'd be willing to pay any extra for it. Getting a dishwasher or something that's really wanted by your tenant could also help keep your tenant, and happy tenants last longer in property. So now's a great time to look at any of those improvements. And then finally, once you've done that whole review, and it doesn't have to be hard, we can help you. We can also help you with planning your next steps. Now, we've got a property growth plan, great format to help you, plan towards your retirement, work out when to buy your properties, and based on average growth rates, we help you be conservative and plan towards things so that you're not just getting to retirement and hoping and praying that you've got enough money. And does your home suit your needs? As I mentioned earlier, now is a great time to look at upgrading, especially if you're in that middle price point, and we can certainly help you with selling and also looking at your buying options on that side. So I really hope you have a ripper of a start to the year. I simply can't wait to get stuck into things around here, and if I can help you with your property plans in any way, do get in touch. Speak to you soon.